Hey, shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back. I thank you again for joining me. Today, I want to talk about Hebrew puns in the Gospels. Yeah, I'm going to share some gospel verses with you that have Hebrew puns. Now, you ask yourself, what is a Hebrew pun? Well, Hebrew pun is it's like the wordplay. It's simply Hebrews had a certain way of writing uh, certain verses and phrases, and I'm going to share some with you. Now, first, I'm going to go to the Old Testament because they're also full of Hebrew puns, and I'm going to go right here to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, for instance. And it says here, then the eternal Yahweh formed the man, which means Adam, of the dirt, and dirt means Adama, Adam, Adama, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And the man, Adam, became a living creature. Now there you can see the Hebrew wordplay and the Hebrew basically poetry behind it. That's how they wrote. Let me come up with an example for you. For other languages like Greek and even English, just say I wrote a sentence like the drunk drank himself unto drunkenness. Okay, that's how the Hebrews would write. But we would say the alcoholic consumed until he was fully inebriated. See, there's a difference. That's kind of a sort of a bad example, but you get the point. But anyways, now for the Hebrew in the Gospels, in the Hebrew wordplay puns on this. I'm gonna go to Matthew 3, chapter 3, verse 9, and it simply says right here, and do not presume to say to yourselves, we have Abraham as our father, for I tell you, Yahweh is able from these stones, and stones, the words mean it's Benim, to raise up the children, and the children mean Benim, for Abraham. So here you got the words that are really closely together, the Benim and the Ebenim. Another example here is Matthew 15, verses 35 to 37. And it says right here, and directing the crowd to set, and set means Shiva, set down on the ground, and the ground here means Esev, E-S-E-V. He took the seven, and seven means Shiva, loaves and the fish, and having given thanks, he broke, and broke means shavar, broke them and gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the crowds, and they all ate and were satisfied. Now, satisfied means Siva, S-E-V-A, but the Shiva up there, the first one was S-H-E-V-A. Okay, Siva, and seven, which is Shiva, S-H-E-V-A, baskets full of the broken pieces left over. So now you got here Shiva, Esev, E-S-E-V. You got Shiva again, the S-H-E, and then down here you got for broke, you got Shavar, S-H-A-V-A-R, and then for satisfied, you got Siva again, S-E-V-A, and Shiva again, S-H-E-V-A. So you got that, and them are Hebrew puns. And you can't really, when Hebrew was translated into Greek, they translate it different, but they can't take out the Hebrew puns, and Greek language, they didn't recognize there was word plays in that. They just translated the words and we don't see it, but they're there in the original form. and that proves that the Gospels, they were Hebrews, and they're writing to a Hebrew crowd, and it was the Hebrew language. Now I'll go to Mark chapter 4, verse 26. And he said, the kingdom of Yahweh is as if a man, you got Adam again, should scatter, and scatter means Zara, Z-A-R-A, scatter seed, and seed means Zera, Z-E-R-A, on the ground, and the ground is Adama, like I said earlier. So, you got a man, which is Adam, scatter means Zara, Z-A-R-A, and seed, which means Zera, Z-E-R-A, on the ground, Adama. That was another Hebrew technique. The two middle words, Zara and Zera, the center of the message are encased in Adam and Adama. That's another Hebrew technique. And now I'll go to the simple one. I think I might have mentioned this Hebrew pun in another past video, but this is Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. And it says, this is about the angel talking to Mary about her pregnancy and upcoming son, the Messiah. She will give birth to a son, and you will call him Yeshua, because he will save. And save means Yeshia, Y-O-S-H-I-A. He shall Yeshua my people from their sins. And you can see how, Yeshua and Yeshia means save. That's what it means. It means saved. And Yeshua is basically, Yeshua is, theophropic name, Yashu, which means Yah saves. Yah saves. And Yah is Yahweh. So he did have he had the name of his father, Yah. But, and I'm going to share with you one more pun here. And this is Mark chapter 1, verse 30 through 31. And it states here, and this is about Peter's mother-in-law. Of course, Peter was married, had a mother-in-law, he had a wife, and most likely he had a couple children. Unlike what the Catholic Church says, he was married, or else it wouldn't say it was his mother-in-law. Okay, and the mother-in-law means Hama, it's H-A-M-A-H, of Simon Peter, who was lying fevered. And immediately they told him about her, and having come near, which means Yeshua, he raised her up, having laid hold of her hand, and the fever, which fever is Homa is H-O-M-M-A-H, left her immediately, and she was ministering unto them. The fever left her. So you had mother-in-law, Hama, and you had fever means Homa, and mother-in-law, H-A-M-A-H, compared to fever, H-O-M-M-A-H. So you got those, and there's plenty of more in the Gospels and even throughout the New Testament, because originally, I did a book review and discussed George Howard's book of the Hebrew Gospel of Matthew, and also here recently, Dr. Miles Jones, he's been discovering Hebrew scriptures of New Testaments all over the place. India, Spain, Vatican. He's been finding them, and his benefactors have been helping him purchase them things so he can translate them. And you can look Dr. Miles Jones up in his work online or wherever and see for yourself. In fact, he published about a little over a year ago the Epistle of James from manuscripts. And but the point is, it's further evidence that the Gospels, at least Mark and Matthew, were originally in Hebrew, and later on they were translated into Greek. But this is proof here. No other language or groups of people, like Latin or Greek or even English, it would be it couldn't even be a coincidence that they would accidentally have these word plays in there. It's just something ain't there, something ain't right. So yes, the Hebrew Gospels are being discovered, and they're being discovered that they are the originals, and please check this stuff out for yourself. Check out those verses for yourself, and I invite you to, and please comment below. Let me know what you think, and also please give me a big thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and also subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And I thank you again for joining me. Until we meet again tomorrow, peace out and shalom.